Hi everyone, I'm here today to talk to you about all of the books I've bought recently or been sent for review. As usual, all the books I mention will be linked in the description box down below. First off, I bought these two books. I bought Remarkable Creatures by Tracy Chevalier. I was really in the mood for reading more of her work after finishing A Single Thread and loving it. I've read lots of her novels in the past, but not for ages, so I decided to pick up this one, which is about a woman called Mary Anning. She enjoys hunting and searching for fossils, and many of her discoveries shaped a lot of scientific discussion at the beginning of the 19th century, and it's about her relationship with Elizabeth Pilpot, and I look forward to reading this one soon. Another book I'm hoping to get to soon, this weekend in fact, is Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. This is a book that has been compared to Bridget Jones. It is about a young black woman called Queenie who's trying to find her place in the world. It's supposed to be very funny but also hard-hitting. And I very much enjoyed Candice's tweet this week when she was shortlisted for Waterstone's Book of the Year. She said, "I see that I have been shortlisted for Waterstone's Book of the Year alongside Margaret Atwood, and I don't like to share." I respect that. I was then sent this book for review by Faber. This is Sarah Hall's new short story collection, Sudden Traveller. It says it is about Turkish forests, characters walking, rain-drenched Cumbrian villages, and life and death. And I think I have one more of her short story collections on my shelf, which I should probably get to first, if not soon after. But I loved her novel, The Wolf Border, and have other novels by her on my shelf too. She's a writer who I've been meaning to read more by for ages. I was then sent this book for review by Bloomsbury. It's called The Godchild by Nana Afaranata Ayim. This one is out on the 14th of November, and it says, Maya grows up in Germany knowing that her parents are different from one another and from the rest of the world. Her reserved, studious father is distant, and her beautiful, volatile mother is a whirlwind with a penchant for lavish shopping sprees and memorizing power for spinning stories of the family's former glory, of what was had and what was lost. And then Kojo arrives on Christmas like an annunciation. Maya's cousin and her mother's godson, Kojo has a way with words, a way of talking about Ghana and empire and what happens when a country's treasures are spirited away by colonialists. For the first time, Maya has someone who can help her understand why exile has made her parents the way they are. But then Maya and Kojo are separated, shuttled off to a school in England where they come face to face with the maddening rituals of empire. I've heard really, really good things about this book, so I'll be picking it up at some point in the not too distant future. I then bought this book, which is called The Sky Atlas by Ed Hitching. Ed is a friend of mine, and this is his third Atlas inspired book. He does have another non-fiction book that came out before that too. In his Atlas books, he takes a particular theme and then he discusses it. So the first one was called The Phantom Atlas and was about maps of places that don't actually exist. This one is a Sky Atlas, so it is about maps of the sky. It says, from Aristotle through Einstein to the latest interstellar explorations, here also are stories of ancient UFO sightings, winged lunar creatures, the enduring belief in a sea above the clouds, and the curious story of the Edwardian aristocrat who mapped alien life on Mars. And it is full of ancient maps of the sky as well, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Let me show you a page here. Here's another one of the beautiful illustrations inside. Ed knows his stuff. He is a fountain of knowledge. He is one of the elves for QI as well. You can trust him. Next up, I bought this book, which ties in very nicely with Ed's book, actually. It's a picture book called How the Stars Came to Be. So it's a fairy tale about how the stars came to be. And the illustration inside it, I'll do a cutaway here so that you can see, is so beautiful. I just cannot get over it. Next, I bought this book here, which was a recommendation from Karen. Was it a recommendation from you? I think so. I think you said it was the best thriller that you'd read this year, and I was asking for recommendations because I am loving the Frida Klein series by Nikki French. So this is The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn, and this is about a woman called Anna Fox who hasn't left her home in 10 months, and then she sees something horrifying outside her window. So yes, please. Thank you very much. I was then sent this book by Serpent's Tail, which I'm hoping is going to be a bit like Conversations with Friends or Frances Ha. It's by Miranda Popke. It's called Topics of Conversation, and it's chronicling 2 decades of one woman's life through all of the conversations that she's had with different women. It's a novel, and I'm really intrigued by that premise, so I'll report back after I've read it. I was then sent this book from Two Rows, which is Sally Magnuson's new novel called The Ninth Child, and this is coming out on the 19th of March next year. It sounds really fascinating. So this is set in Scotland in 1856, and it's about a woman called Isabel Aird, and she's aghast because her husband has been appointed the doctor at a new waterworks that's being built far out of the city where she currently lives. She's had a series of miscarriages, and she moves with him to where this is being constructed, and the locals are worried about them building this new building there because they think that they are disturbing the fae. So I am intrigued to see where it goes from there. Also, look at all of the detail on this proof. It's so pretty. So very, very pretty. Next up, I was sent this book from Unsung Stories, which is called Always North by Vicky Jarrett. And I know that this is a novel that centres around climate change. I was a little bit concerned with the cover. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's a polar bear which has two heads and then has a disfigurement as well. And I'd asked about the cover, but apparently it's not actually a depiction of something that is within the book. So I will go into the book and see what this cover is all about. But I know that it's about climate change, it's about an expedition to the north, and I look forward to reading more. Then I bought this book here, which is Mending and Breaking by Joanna Cannon. This is a short memoir of hers about her time as a doctor, and I have not actually read any of her novels, but I've heard such great things, so I thought I would start here. When I went out to buy this book, I also went into Persephone Books because I wanted to buy another one of their titles, and then I went in again a couple of weeks after that and bought another. So the one I bought the first time around was called Daddy's Gone A-Hunting by Penelope Mortimer, and this is about a bored housewife in the 1950s, I think. Her kids have just gone back to school and she doesn't really know what to do with herself. And then the one I bought the other day is No Surrender by Constance Maud. This is a book that's about the suffragette movement. It was first written in 1911, and then Persephone reissued it, and I'd been wanting to read it for ages and had forgotten about it. But earlier this week I went to the BBC studios where they're announcing their 100 books that have shaped our world, and it's a subjective list that's being created by 6 people. They're not saying these are the best books ever, they're saying these are books that influence us. And off the back of that, they are doing a 3-part series, the first of which is on Sunday on BBC Two at 9 p.m, talking about books that have shaped or books that have shaped the world, or just talking about different themes in bookish history. And we got to see the first episode of that ahead of it being aired on Sunday, which was about women in literature. And they mentioned this book here, which isn't on the list of 100 books, but was in the programme. And that reminded me that I've always wanted to read it. That was a very long-winded way of saying that's why I bought this book, but that's why I bought this book. And when I went to buy it, Jean said she wanted a copy, so I also bought one for her, and then I bought a third copy to give away to one of you because I thought that might be a nice thing to do. So I'm giving that away over on Instagram, and I'll link that giveaway down below if you would like to go and enter. I was then sent this for review. It's called A History of Walking by Lydia Kennaway. This is a poetry pamphlet published by Happenstance. It was published earlier this year but sold out, and now they're reprinting it, and it will be available again at the end of November. It says at the end of the blurb, Lydia is a cellist, so her ear for music is not wholly unexpected, but her tonal range is astonishing. In these poems, she walks, skips, dances, and strides between love, mischief, elegy, and rage. I will talk about it more once I finish reading it. And then finally, I have this graphic memoir here called A Puff of Smoke by Sarah Lippett. I will do a cutaway here so that you can see the illustration style. I know that Sarah has a few exhibitions going on to coincide with the launch of this book, in case you want to Google and see if what's going on near you. But this graphic memoir is about what it's like to grow up with an illness that nobody can diagnose. And as you know, I'm always interested in reading more books that deal with disfigurement and disability, so I will be reading this one soon, possibly for Non-Fiction November actually, and I will report back once I have read it. So, those are all the books that I wanted to show you today. As I mentioned, all of them are linked down below if you would like to go and find out more. Have you read any of these? Would you like to? Let me know in a comment down below. I hope you're having a great Thursday, and I'll speak to you very soon. Lots of bookish love. Bye.